Which one?
John Harbaugh won the game. Shady, you watched the game. I was sitting there watching the game. What was your biggest takeaway from everything you saw? What you take away?
You know what? The Ravens were dominant. Once they got really going, they got really going.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson, man, he was the best player on the field, right? Running, throwing, scoring in the air, scoring on the ground. And then King Henry. They must have seen what the Eagles did in the same stadium, did the same thing. Let's run the rock. That's the first time in a long time we see the Ravens just dominate a really, really good team. We're going to run the ball and establish the run. And once you did that, all the play action was open, got the tight ends involved, et cetera, and took some shots deep to Rashad Bateman. So I like what the Ravens did. I think there was a wake-up call for everybody else because everybody kept doubting them. If they don't win, no, we going to win. And we're going to show you that why we're a dominant team. And the Chargers. I don't know, dog. I mean, every time you want to believe in y'all do this.
You got the flashlight?
Come on now. They looking funny in the light. So, yeah, good what the Ravens did.
We will get there. Chase, biggest takeaway, man, when you were watching that game?
The offense is electric. The offense is one of the best offenses in NFL history. What struck me last night is how easily they can score. They scored on 5 straight drives and where they can score from. So it got my producer and I, Colin, thinking, what type of offense is this in terms of NFL history, NFL lore? Well, everyone knows about the greatest show on turf, right? This is the greatest show on grass. Look at these numbers, okay? 32 points a game for the Rams. The Ravens right now are averaging 30. But they have more yards per game. They have more rush yards per game. That's 6.97 yards per play. That's historic.
Yeah, that's the crazy one.
If that ends today, it's the second best yards per play in NFL history. They're making it look easy. Now, the 1999 Rams ended with a Super Bowl. But will this Ravens team end with the Super Bowl as well? They look like it last night. Their defense might be looking a little funny in the light, though. But 1999, greatest show on turf, to now the greatest show on grass.
Hey,
it's real.
Real quick, I want to ask you this question, because everybody keeps talking about them numbers. Like, yo, greatest on turf with the Rams.
Falk and them boys.
But I know the numbers are the numbers. Man. Can we be honest for a second, though? If we had to pick, which offense y'all taking?
Man, I'm taking Kurt Warner.
I don't even think it's close. I don't think it's close.
The story has yet to be written.
No, I don't think it's close.
This Ravens offense. The story is yet to be
Isaac
written.
Bruce and Torrey Hall.
Marshall.
But Derrick Henry? Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson?
but no.
Come on now.
No, because look,
I'm just saying.
Marshall, though.
With all due respect.
I love Derrick Henry. I'm a running back. But I don't even know too many running backs better than Marshall Falk.
That's real.
Look, wide receiver, what you need some routes? Bet. Oh, you mean run the ball? Bet.
If they win the Super Bowl, will it change your...
We will have that conversation when that day comes.
Come on, Shady.
James, what was your biggest takeaway from the Ravens?
You know what's crazy? My biggest takeaway...
He's scratching that there.
Because that's the Ravens. How we see you look the way you look some weeks and then see you look the way you look in the wins. They look like they shouldn't even been on the field after the first quarter with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson said, that's enough. We started slow. No, for real. Lamar said, that's enough. Let me start getting outside this pocket. Let me make some plays with my legs. I'm going to throw the ball. Got Zay Flowers involved. Got Bateman involved. And then Derrick Henry. I mean, 4th down, 1st down, 3rd down, 2nd down. It do not matter. They could not stop him coming downhill. And when you see stuff like this from Lamar Jackson, that looked like he out there playing, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was a point to where he said, man, I'm finna take this game over. And he did. Whether it was with his arm, whether it was with his legs, and then obviously King Henry can close any game. They leaned on him. But it was just a head-scratcher because this team looks so dominant, like how can they not win a Super Bowl? But then it's times to where, like, how can they?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was my takeaway. Like, why can't we get this Ravens every week?
When I say the Ravens are the most dynamic offense in football, it's because they have the ability to throw the haymaker. They have the ability to throw the jab. They have so many pitches that they can also throw at different paces.
Yeah.
So for me, my biggest takeaway is the dynamics of that Ravens offense as a defender. They keep you on your toes, then they put you on your heels. They keep you off balance.
Well, you didn't even throw in the Lamar Jackson called run game, which they didn't even run last night. They didn't even try to get to that. So you want to talk about pitches that they're throwing.
The only time they ran it was the touchdown.
Yeah, but then his scrambling ability outside of the pocket, because he had 3 total touchdowns. He's just like a touchdown machine. Yeah. So not only do you have Justice Hill and Derrick Henry, but you have Lamar Jackson, who's an elite runner of the football as well. It just makes him really difficult to defend if you're defense.
Yeah, Shady, I got a question for you. Because watching that play right there, as a receiver, we taught MDM block. For the world, MDM block is safety comes rolling down, cornerbacks off, you come crack the safety, right? Now, as a running back, would you prefer me to stay on the corner and you looking at the safety, or would you prefer the MDM block to bounce it?
It don't really matter for elite running backs. Like, I would say, we always want the cornerback. I mean, but if you need me to safety, I'm cool with that too, though, because he's going to be a little farther off. But I will say this, though, when you start running the ball too well, like Acho was just showing that play, he didn't show they went man, right? And then they sent the tight end kind of like back to cut the deep end. So somebody had him in man. So that's a defender that the ball's going to the left tight end is going to the right, so he's following him a little bit. That's why he had so much room, and once he broke that contain, there's nobody there. So when you run the ball so well in different formations, as a defense, you got to account for that. You know what I mean? And that's the good thing about the Ravens. Like, they give you so many different looks.
So the good thing about the facility is, right, you're hearing this knowledge. So I'll give it to you from a defender's perspective. What the Ravens do so well is they have several different formations and several different plays out of those formations. Usually as a defender, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have 8 different formations and 3 plays out of those formations. So you're going to get about 24 plays. But if you're a good defender, you say, okay, if they come out in this formation, you only got 3 plays. So they're only going to run about 3 plays out of this formation. But the Ravens, they got about 15, 16 different formations. And then they got about 3 to 4 plays out of those formations. So now if you think about how much more difficult it is to prepare for the Ravens, because most offenses, okay, 8 formations, 2 plays, come out, break the huddle, bet. I'm getting a bootleg, I'm getting a stretch, I'm getting a counter, I'm getting a play-action pass. Simple. But the Ravens, they do so much more, Chase. That's why it seems so difficult.
And you forgot one major component for a defense and how offenses really blitz the defense. It's personnel groupings. The Ravens have more personnel groupings, 13 personnel, 1 back, 3 tight ends, 22 personnel with Pat Ricard, who's like an offensive lineman playing there. So they have all these different types of personnels, which then you go into the formations and then you go into the plays, try tripling that because they can run an 11 personnel counter out of 13 personnel. And it looks the same, but it's completely different to you guys because you guys are probably in nickel.
And I think stopping, dang, I freaking lost my pen. Stopping a Ravens offense like this is run the ball so well, 2 things. Either one, you got guys up front on the defense that controls the line of scrimmage. Push it back a little bit. That way, a guy like Derrick Henry can't really get going, right? And then you make Lamar Jackson have to read faster because the pressure again. Or you got fast as linebackers that swarm, right? So you clog it. You notice you clog it up, but we so fast back there we can go over and get on top of that. But it's hard because Lamar can run the ball too. And Derrick Henry is so.
And that's the thing with me, Acho, as a defender. If you're not in 3 wide receivers, it should never be man-to-man. No, for real, though. If they come out in their 22 package or they come out in their 2 tight ends package and 2 running back, it should never be man-to-man. I should never see a corner or a safety traveling with a tight end knowing they got so many run plays out of this and you got to account for Lamar.
And it's late in the game. It's late in the game. We're not trying to throw the ball.
They should be zone, period.
And what's crazy is that we talk about all these 22 personnel, 13 personnel run games. They have play-action passes off of all of those, and we broke it down earlier this year. It's like Lamar's gotten way better at that play-action passing because of Derrick Henry, and it's opened up stuff down the field.
Let's talk about the Chargers on the flip side, because obviously the Ravens played a dominant game, but for the Chargers, some would suggest it was a bad loss. But forget the loss. More importantly, Chase, you played for the Chargers for 2 years. Was it a bad game? It's just a one-off. We don't have to worry too much about it. It won't happen again. Or was it a bad sign? Bad game, bad sign going forward?
Bad game for me. This loss to me did nothing to change my opinion of who the Chargers are, and that's a playoff team in the wild card. I think they can still get to that wild card game, and I do think that given the right circumstances, they can win some playoff games. Like they run the ball well. Justin Herbert has been cooking lately. That defense is still the #1 scoring defense. They just ran into a brick wall with Lamar Jackson and the Chargers and the Ravens. But you look at their upcoming schedule, it's like, man, they got some winnable games. To me, they got to get to 11 wins to make sure that they get into the playoffs. They got Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks, Broncos, Patriots, Raiders. I see at least 4 wins there. I think they're beating the Falcons. I think they're beating the Bucks. I think they're beating the Patriots. I think they're beating the Raiders. It's not a very difficult schedule on the low end of that. So when you do that, 10 to 11 wins, for me, this is a hiccup. It shows improved to where they were. They only lost by 7 points. To me, it doesn't change it.
Whoa, I'm glad you brought that up. He said schedule. Whoa. Who are the Chargers for real? Okay. They looking funny in the You ever get the $100 bill? You like, let me see $100 bill. It's real. Dog. Because if we want to be technical, they 6-0 against losing teams. They 1-4 against the good teams. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Panthers. They beat the good Saints. Ooh. The Browns, the Titans, and the Bengals. Who they lose to, Shady? Steelers, Chiefs.
Good.
Cardinals and Ravens.
All winning
And the only
Cardinals
team
look
they
like a
beat
bad
that was
loss.
eating good, I guess we want to call them good, the Broncos?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're in
So
picture right now.
when you asking, like, is it a bad loss, or this is,
Bad sign.
it's a bad sign, because the sign shows me you only beat the weak teams, and the good teams, you don't only beat them.
That's a really good. I think it's a bad sign as well. It's a phenomenal point. I didn't even think of that. I think it's a bad sign because yesterday I realized the Chargers' ceiling. I thought the Chargers could get to a
That's it.
championship game. Reason being, Jim Harbaugh, he took
did
over
say
for
that.
the 49ers. He went to the NFC Championship game immediately. Jim Harbaugh, he took over from Michigan. Outside of one loss to Ohio State, he would have gone to the championship game his first year. Jim Harbaugh, he takes over for the Chargers. But now when I watch the game, Chargers just don't have enough. When you watch games in person, so much is glaring. In a football field with Quentin Johnson, 6'4", 230, in a football field with Josh Palmer, who looks electric fast, Ladd McConkey's the best wide receiver.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
a
sitting on the
rookie.
field watching an alien of Quentin Johnson and his 6'5", 240-pound self, and the best receiver is this 5'11", 180-pound cat. That's bad math. Because when you look at the Ravens side of the field, the Ravens got a Zay Flowers who's super electric, a Bateman first-round super electric, a Mark Andrews, and Isaiah Likely. And then it dawned on me, Shady James, when I'm watching the game, both of Lamar Jackson's touchdown passes were contested catches.
Yeah.
Chargers had no contested catches last night, and they had uncontested drops.
Yeah.
Terrible math. So bad sign for me, Chase, because none of that is getting fixed this year. Maybe in future years it can get fixed, but for the Chargers, y'all just don't have enough pieces.
You're absolutely right. Watching that game last night, that was my takeaway. The Chargers don't have enough. You're gonna have to go on the road every single football game. The Chiefs is winning the division. So if you make the playoffs, you got to go on the road every single game. You might have to go to Pittsburgh. You might have to go to Baltimore. You might have to go to Buffalo. I don't know how those games are going. Well, I do know how those games are going because you do not have enough. And it's not even the uncontested catches. Like, they will make those catches. Them is wide open catches. Quentin Johnson, you'll make those. I know he had a couple little drops.
Really?
Yes.
Last
He'll make
year he
those.
did
top 5 in the NFL.
My thing is everything when the game was on the line was extremely hard because they don't have the playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. All the receivers was covered. They couldn't create separation. They were all contested catches. Herbert was putting the ball where the ball needed to be, but they did not make the plays, and they don't have that guy. You need that guy in the playoffs. You're not going far in the playoffs without that guy. I really don't care who the quarterback is. You need the guy to make the tough catches. That's the main reason why the Chiefs went out and got Hopkins. You're at one point in time, you're going to need those dudes to make the play.
But they couldn't make the tough catches nor the easy catches. Remember, Quentin Johnson in the first quarter dropped the tough catch.
3 drops.
He dropped the tough one. Then he dropped the easy one. Also, mind you, though, he's known for having drops. Like, there's no need to draft a Ladd McConkey, I think, at the top of the second round, if I'm not mistaken. No need to draft a Ladd McConkey at the top of the second round if Quentin Johnson would have been exactly who you thought him to be. Like, that was to some degree, along with being an additional option, it was an insurance option. So I just don't know, Chase, when I look at these Chargers, how to say, like, there's just not enough.
And you were on it, right? Because I think we did this, we did an episode or a segment a couple weeks ago. You said, what do the Chargers need to make the next jump? And you said receiver and a D lineman. I think Poona Ford's playing good, but the receiver is the biggest issue because Justin Herbert, what he's doing right now, it's special.
Yeah.
Because you look at what he's doing it with, and then you go back and, well, he didn't have that true number one receiver, and he's still balling. Only 1 interception and 303 pass attempts this season. And he's obviously running the football a lot more, which I think was part of his game that was unlocked now that he's healthy. So if you give Justin Herbert 1 or 2, like decent, like I say decent, these guys are decent receivers. If you give guys one big playmaker, right? Like it's a different story because last night when the running back J.K. Dobbins got hurt, their game plan went out the window.
You know what else I was thinking, Shady, is I was watching the game saying, boy, don't let the Chargers get an elite running back. Like, J.K. Dobbins is a really good running back. He's a really – don't let them get their hands on one of them Saquons, one of them Derrick Henrys, one of them Josh Jacobs types. Like, don't let them get their hands on a dude who you know is going to carry the ball 280 times a year. He's not going to get hurt and can take it the distance at any given point in time. J.K. Dobbins likely would have been that dude. He's been so maligned with injuries. We've talked about it on camera. We've talked about it off camera. But I'm like, bro, don't let them get one of those ones.
I just think let's just zoom out for a second. I know that I wanted the Chargers to win last night. Let's just zoom out and just like how far the Chargers have come with the head coach. Like we're talking about this as they're 1 or 2 pieces away from potentially going on a little bit of a run, right? So like just that's what I sort of took away from that is like They came a long way. When I was there, it was like you just wanted to win. Now they're 7-4. They're in a good position to make the playoffs. They got to win 3 of their next 6, potentially to get in. Like, that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, respect to Harbaugh and everything he's done over there. And we knew this was going to happen. We knew Harbaugh was going to come in here and change this program around 1 year later, 2 years later. We knew that was going to happen. But one thing they're not built for is playing from behind. That is what they're not built for. And that is why I said everything looked really, really hard. Because you could design up a bunch of funny plays and all that to help get your receivers wide open. But when you got to have it and you're down 2 scores, it was rough on the Chargers. Yeah. It was rough on the Chargers. O-line, and a lot of those other teams, it's not that rough on them, but they just don't have enough offensively right now on the playmaker side.
It's interesting if you can still, in this day and age, be built for both. Right, y'all played those early Niners Harbaugh teams. Obviously, Shady, you did in the NFC. James, you did as well in the NFC. But their best receiver was Crabtree and Anquan Boldin.
And they had Kaepernick as the quarterback.
So even those teams weren't necessarily built to play from behind. Now, run game, future Hall of Famer, 3rd leading rusher in the history of the NFL, Frank Gore. Run game, I mean, their offensive lineman was utterly ridiculous. Kept 2 tight ends on. Go ahead, Shady.
No, I'm saying, like, if they catch some of them first downs, like, we're not even talking. It's a different game. So you saying coming from behind, I hear that part, but them drops was critical drops.
The shallow cross to Quentin Johnson was
first down.
huge.
No question. Yo, 2 of them was first downs. He had like a little comeback. Easy. Then he catches and drops it. I'm like,
the shallow cross was.
Some of the things like you can't really game plan a certain way if you're, I guess your number 1 is dropping everything. How you gonna compete against the Ravens?
But not only that, even with the Niners, Harbaugh, like Michael Crabtree and Anquan Boldin lived on tough catches. That's how they live. Like, so as good as you want Kaepernick to be, it really don't matter. Throw it over here. This the play. Throw it to Anquan. You know, they don't have that guy. Throw it to Vernon. We forgetting Vernon. Throw it to Vernon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they just don't have that guy. I mean, all due respect to Will, what is it, Will Dissly? The title, all due respect, but he not Vernon. They just don't have those guys on the offensive side of the ball yet.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.